Sarah Hobson, Rhinebeck School of Music. I'm going to do a quick little music theory video here talking about thirds. So when we talk about chords, whether they're triads or bar chords, open chords, major, minor, dominant, doesn't matter. The most important intervals you're looking at are roots, thirds, and fifths. If there's seventh chords, you add sevenths. But we're going to do really basic here, and we're just going to go off of these open major chords that everybody knows, right? And I did kind of a variation on this lesson probably a couple of years ago when I was talking about playing scales, like major scales in thirds. Like instead of practicing, going up and down a scale, practicing in intervals, right? Like thirds, like this. Which gives you more depth out of your scale instead of just playing up and down scales. All right, so everybody knows how to play a G chord. So the way thirds line up on the guitar is if you have a major third, if this is my root, and I want to go a major third away, it looks like this, because a major third is 2 whole steps away from your root, right? So if I go to here, this is a B, G to B, but I also have the same note B here. So if I wanted to play it like as a chord instead of just an interval, I could stack it like that, root, third, and then fifth. Everybody should have that sound in their mind. Maybe if you took chorus 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, like singing the root, the third, and the fifth of the chord. That's like a common chorus and voice exercise. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, G, B, D, B, G. All right, so when I play my G chord, you can see like at that angle where the root and the third are. Same with the C chord. Can you see the angle? C to E, C, E, G. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. When I play F, can you see it? Doot, doot. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. Even when I play the D chord, it's here, the angle. It's a little hidden. And the fifth is back here. 1, 3, 5. So that one's a little bit trickier. Here's my E chord. Can you see it here? The root. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. There's the root. There's the third. That means if you move these around as bar chords, they're in the same place. Right? So, of course, everything gets tricky between, the G and the B strings here. So like, here's the A, right? So instead of going from here to here, you have to move it up because it's a shorter distance, right? So here's my root, third, fifth on the A chord, which means if I move that around. So that's the one weird one out of the bunch because, it's the root and the third are between the G and the B strings, which makes it weird. So why is that important to learn the root, third, and fifth of your chord? Because when we talked about suspending your chord voicings, like making sus2s and sus4s, right? Knowing where the third is essential. So if I'm playing a G chord, and I know this is root, third, fifth, if I take the third away in favor of the A, then I have this nice sus2 chord. If I take this C chord and I take the middle finger away, right? Then I have in favor of the D, then I have a sus2 here. F, take away the middle finger there, the open G, I have an F sus2. Here's my D, right? Take that third away in favor of the open E and I have a D sus2. Here's my A, take that away here, and I have the open B, I have sus2. So all of them have followed the same angle, right? Right? Except for the A, that's the exception, which is a pain. And then sus4, same thing. Like if I know where I'm moving the 3 up to the 4. So now I've got this beautiful chord voicing. Here's my C. Here's my F. Here's my D. with the A. If I know this is root third, just move my third up to my 4, right? So I talked about these in theory more in a previous lesson talking about chords. Really, it's just if you know where the root and the third are, then you can make a sus2 or a sus4, right, out of the chord, right? That means your bar chords, like, so if this is my, it's hard to do a sus2 off of this because you'd have to go back here, which is tricky. But the sus4, is right there. And then here's my A shape, that's a sus4, sus2, just like with that A shape. It's just a little bit harder because you're barring it now. And a lot of these, so like your D chord, that applies like if you're moving that as a triad, that's a sus4, that's a sus2, right? You know where the root and the third are, and then you know. Same with this F shape, right? It's a little bit harder to do the sus2. Right? So any of these. You can move them around in your triad forms too, and you can play with the suspended shapes a little bit. All right, hopefully that was helpful. If you haven't already, visit www.rhinebeckschoolofmusic.com and subscribe, become a patron, patreon.com/Rhinebeck School of Music. See you the next one.